Ed, prepare it.
There it is.
There's
Copy.
YouTube.
YouTube Live.
Welcome to West Coast Wednesday here on Prospectors Radio with Kathleen Biffle, Rich Cooley, Scott Swiftwater Tony, Indiana Gold Hunter, Dennis Dayton, and your host, Tim Grimes. We hope you enjoy the show, and thanks again for listening.
And Chad.
And Chad.
What's going on? Welcome back, Kathleen and Chad and Rich. Man, everybody's back tonight.
Yes.
How you guys doing? That's
good.
Good.
Good. It's good to be back. I mean,
except for the work part.
Yeah, that sucks, but we're still getting used to the time. And then, you know, with all the daylight that you see up there constantly, it kind of messes with you when you come back. But
yeah. Are you saying it gets dark now?
It's starting.
Here.
Well, here, yeah.
Not up there.
There was a slight change at the twilight hour in brightness.
Really?
Yeah, it's starting to get darkness is creeping in up there, but it's still bright out.
It's still pretty bright.
Daylight-ish.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Borealis?
No, it's too bright
too
out.
bright.
You need darkness to see that.
Right.
That's the winter
Oh,
time.
that's going to be in the winter then.
Yeah. They said, I think anywhere from November to March is like the target of when you want to be there. But there's a lot of dependencies on obviously
weather,
cloud cover. If it's too cloudy, you ain't going to see it. And then also just stuff happening in the atmosphere and the magnetic field. You know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. So
I'll tell you what, that would be one time I would actually go up there in the cold is to see that.
Oh yeah, we both want to see that.
We're gonna probably someday plan a trip up in the winter time just to see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
That'd be cool.
That's a bucket list item, right?
Oh yeah,
that is. I've never.
I mean, which is real still funny because I still haven't seen the Grand Canyon.
What?
You're 4.5 hours, actually 4 hours away
I've
from
seen the
there.
Grand Canyon.
I know, but to me, it's like, you know, okay, it's a hole. I mean, yeah, it's a big hole that the Earth made, but it's still a hole.
It's a really big hole.
Yeah. But the Aurora Borealis, I mean, you just don't, you can't see that. You got to see it.
Well, it's something you have to experience firsthand for sure. But it's great to be back. And, you know, we've got a lot of adventure stories to talk about.
We look forward to hearing.
Yeah, we did. How has everybody else been?
You don't want to know.
I think I when we got back on the grid, I saw some of the messages and
I could
pretty much. Hey, pretty much. Rich got new batteries in his pacemaker. I got some rain, and Tim washed his car.
Pretty much.
Okay. Not surprised about Tim. Rich, I hope you're doing good, brother.
Yeah.
And
I'm hanging in there, man. I'll tell you, my eye problems and headaches, and hopefully I can get some answers here soon.
You're going to do that next week, right?
Well, I don't know. I have an appointment tomorrow to get the pacemaker and wires and all that checked, and hopefully it'll give me an answer when I can get an MRI.
Right.
Figure out what's wrong with my head.
And we'll know.
May have to take you to the Cleveland Clinic.
Never know. Where they
Take me to the what?
Hold on. Sorry.
What the heck was that? Wind chime?
That was my
that was her
timer.
alarm. She's got to check on her pond. She's putting
Turn the water off.
I'll be right back. You guys.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So as soon as they can do that MRI, maybe they'll know something. Rich get his eye squared away in his head. You can't see his eye, can you, Shad, with the reflection?
No, I just see.
Okay, see it?
Yeah.
Hey, did you request that pacemaker have gold wires?
No.
He says no.
Yeah, you can see my eye, right?
Yeah, I see
that.
Now watch this.
Watch
this.
Dude, that's closed up worse than the other day.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Ain't that weird? Ain't that strange?
It goes right back down. That's that. You know what? That's closed up than the other day when you did that.
Yeah.
The other day we could still see a little bit of your eye. Now you can't. You look like you've been in a boxing match.
Yeah, it's just closed.
Pretty
Well,
much need to walk around and tape something to your glasses.
Yeah.
There you got it. There you got it. Open, but look, it's
But the
relaxing.
problem is I see two different sides.
Yeah.
Out of this eye, I see this side, and out of this eye, I see this side. They're not coming together.
Jeez. Hopefully they get it squared away. Find out.
Oh yeah.
It's
That-
freaky deaky.
It's craziness, is what it is.
And Scott, I've seen the little bit of rain and the little rivers flowing up there. In,
The
your
sprinkles.
A little bit of rivers. Is that what you call that?
area. Yeah, just little streams.
Sprinkles.
Like I said, I'm not going to get over to the store, which is right over there, for a good week and a half.
Do your claims got water now?
No, my claims are on the other side of the highway, and that comes from a different direction. The Aqua Fria comes from like up north, Flagstaff, Camp Verde, that kind of stuff. It comes down. The Black Canyon comes from like Crown King, that way, Turkey Creek. It floods into there. So we got a little bit of water, but not nothing you'd want to go down and dredge out of. I mean, unless you knew where there's some deep pools that you had to dredge, that'd be cool, but not what I seen.
Huh?
But the Aqua Fria, that thing, man, as much rain as they got up north and it hit here, and it rained all night, pretty steady.
Uh-huh.
And it just, I mean, you go out in the morning and you can hear the water running in the wash.
Wow.
It was loud. It was loud. I was like, I could hear that.
Dang.
It was, yeah, it was crazy.
Now, this road that you were talking about, now that's the road from your house that goes to a store.
Yeah, you go down and you turn left, and it goes down through the wash. So the actual bottom of the wash is actually part of the road.
So basically, you have that way to go to your place, and then do you have to go all the way around?
Yeah,
Then
pretty much.
it's that road. So what's the difference as in time?
Well, like if I go to, if that was like a little neighborhood store,
Uh-huh.
and then they got the other big stores uptown. So if I go that way, I mean, I mean, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. But the flood that went through that road, man, you could just see the riffles. It went down to the solid rock. So they're gonna have to come back in, lay something over it, probably, run it down a couple times, lay a couple stuff. It's gonna take them a little while to actually fix that road again, because that's actually a link in to the town, because the town's kind of like a triangle if you think of it that way.
Okay.
So if one of the triangle pieces is cut out, you got to go a long way this way or a long way that way. So when it comes to the fire department, the sheriffs, things like that, it's really not beneficial to have that road knocked out.
Right. Interesting. Well, at least you're getting some water. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's gone now.
Seen the videos that people have posted, and some people being stupid trying to drive through a wash.
Oh my gosh.
SUV floating away, and
I'll tell you what, this year, Shad, has been, I think I have seen more people on the news doing dumb crap and getting freaking caught in the middle of washes and trees and stuff like that than the last 13 that I've been here. It was that bad. Like, people's like, "Oh, I can make that." I'm like, you're in a Honda. So
it's probably all these people from California that just moved in.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They got a freaking rude awakening. And what's bad is because tragically, we had one family that lost a 4-year-old girl out, and they still haven't found her yet.
Oh, gee.
And then there's also a 16-year-old that should have known better. It was an ex-fire chief here in Phoenix's granddaughter that tried to go across the wash, and her car went in the wash too. And I don't know. I don't remember if they found her or not. I haven't heard anything on it, but I'm just like, man, you people quit doing it, dude. It's moving water
with a lot of stuff in there moving.
Yeah, I think it's like every inch is 40 pounds of pressure on your legs.
Wow, that's crazy.
And you guys got to remember, your car tires got air in them. Hello. They kind of float when you get water under them.
I was watching that one video on Facebook with that car floating down the creek, and I was like, any minute now that thing's gonna flip over. And sure enough, that thing went.
Oh yeah, it went right on side.
And then those people got up on top of the car, and then it flipped over.
Yeah, they're lucky they survived.
Oh,
honestly, really.
I think it was a man and 2 boys or something.
Yeah, a man and his 2 sons. That video.
Yeah,
and they were lucky other people were there able to help rescue them.
Yeah.
I mean, you give me something 20 to 25 feet that maybe is like 6 inches deep, I'll just flat cross that. But if I get to a wash where I know what it does, there's a big dip in it, and that thing's level with the bridge, I'm like, no.
Well, then if the water's ripping at the time, that's the last thing because there's stuff being rolled around there. That ain't safe,
Right.
even if it's somewhat shallow.
Getting all that.
Well, like I said, well, we call it chocolate milk when there's debris and stuff in the water, and there's mud. You know, it's kind of muddy water. Well, the mud acts to the pressure of the water because it's moving sediment. And then you drive aired up tires, which we float on air, folks. You try to drive your tires through there and bye-bye. I mean, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
Definitely something we'll have to get used to when we move out there. I mean, like, how do you know when it's not safe to drive through a wash?
We just said it, when it's stuck and ripping.
No, I mean, I mean, like,
Just
where's that breaking point, like, from the water level where it just snaps and turns dangerous?
Well, you know what? If I was you guys and you got someplace that's way off the grid, it's out in the, you know, you got to cross probably quite a few washes.
Yeah.
If you were smart, I would actually wait until a good rain, go find out where they're flooded at, and actually mark it where, okay, this is not safe.
Okay.
If the water's here, don't do it. If it's lower, you know how the dip in the road goes. But if you have a marker, you know, it could be in the side of the desert or just markers that you know. But mark, you know, if it's 7 inches deep, fly through it. If it's 20 or 2 feet deep,
that's
don't
good
do it.
information to, I mean, because you can't really judge it if you're not familiar with the area. And
you guys got to. I'm sure you got to pass a lot of washes.
Oh, there's a lot. You actually drive in a wash at one point.
Well, you drive through actually 3 areas actually in a wash, 2 that are maintained by the state with little concrete around Lake Pleasant. But yeah, that I would not try to drive through because they had to put concrete there because shit gets washed out so bad.
Yeah.
But to get off the one road to our property, you have to drive down in the wash. So yeah, that one we would not.
Yeah, and that's a big wash.
Would stay home.
Get a freezer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Just stay home. Don't try.
I mean, just in case you have to stay for 3 days, you better have a freezer full of meat, right?
Oh yeah.
I got both freezers.
Pole vault. You can run a zip line. Yeah, we'll run a zip line all the way across.
That's what we need to do.
There we go.
With what do you call those little hooks? Carabiners.
Yeah, the carabiners.
Just don't drive over no washes.
No, it really is dangerous.
Yeah,
I can imagine. How long did the rain come down to get all that? Like, was it 2 days or just within like 5 hours?
Well, see, the thing is when we first started getting the flood, we didn't have any rain at all. It was everybody up north.
Oh.
So we're sitting here in sunshine, and there's a wall of water flying through the wash. Like, I dare you to be out there playing in the sand.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when it went through, then people's like, oh, I got to get to the other side. I better do it while I got a chance. And really? You're at the front of the freaking flood. Boom. Bye-bye. Idiot ticket.
Yeah, I mean, they don't realize the ground's so dry, it doesn't absorb it. The water just flows. And my mom said...
And that sediment just kind of balls up and goes with it.
They said when the rain hit you guys later down there, it would just pour where she got, they said, over 2 inches of rain in less than 2 hours. That's I think we got
1.7 in 2 hours, and then it rained pretty steady.
Yeah.
All night long.
That's a ton of rain all at once.
Yeah.
Well, for here, yeah.
And then it just drains all into those low spots everywhere.
Well, there were some places up north that got 5.7 and 5.4.
Wow. Yeah.
And they just told people don't go out anymore.
Just stay in.
Well, down in the river, it actually a wash flooded out and crossed a Carefree Highway. They had to
did?
shut it down. And then my mom said they closed down I-10 for a while because it all went underwater.
Off of Greenway. They had pumps out there and like this. And the news is like, well, that always happens at Greenway. I'm like, well, then somebody ought to figure out how to fix that thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's only been like what, 10 years you guys has been on the news? So let's get things going. But anyway,
At
it's
least
just
you guys
my
got
opinion.
rain, right? Because I know that there was a drought, kind of.
Right. They need.
Well, we did. That's our first rain for a year.
Right. And how long does monsoon season go?
You know, I really don't know.
I thought they just generally into August, but I don't know for
Well,
how.
what's really funny is because like our monsoons right now this year are coming out of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But the really good ones that we used to get always used to come out of like Mexico and Baja California, which is still Mexico.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing those storms coming up through there. I'm seeing them circle around coming around California and circle around through New Mexico. I'm like, all right.
That's weird.
Well, I think there's 2 monsoon seasons. I don't know, but because I know in the wintertime we can get some humdinger like 3-day rains that, oh, okay, you went from dry washing to dredging for sure now.
Crazy. That's all.
Yeah, and then you got the snow melt from Prescott. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we get, like I said, Prescott, King, or Crown King. Yeah, those places up in there, they all run down Turkey, and then it feeds into Black Canyon.
Wow. Well, speaking of feeding, have you seen those gold prices?
Right.
I hope they're green.
Yeah, man. Well, gold's up $10.09. $1,810.08.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a good.
So, well, I said 1,000. What was it? 18. You entered 18.8. So it's went up to $3, or it's measured around.
Well, I know when I looked, I think it was Friday or Saturday rather when we got into cell reception. It was like 1879 or something, or 1880 something.
That's a good push.
Yeah, so that's good. Now silver, that increased 27 cents to $25.01. So you better buy some silver.
Yeah.
Tim's like, okay, give it to
me. Platinum's up $11.29 at $1,070.12. So good movement there on those. Palladium also increased $16.88 to $2,630, which leaves us rhodium.
Rhodium.
It stayed flat at $18,400.
Dude, it stayed unch. I'm telling you, something's going on with that rhodium.
Unch.
So yeah, but it looks good though. I'm happy the gold prices are bouncing back out there.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully it goes up more, but yeah, that's good news.
It sure is.
Yeah, buddy.
What about some birthdays?
Well, yeah, speaking of good news, we do have several birthdays.
Several?
Tonight and tomorrow.
Chad won't hack them up like I do.
Well, it's okay. It's funny.
I'm the butcher man.
Right, it's funny.
The trick is, whatever you think it is, just say it and don't act like it's wrong. Just keep moving along.
Right.
Yeah. But it's July 28th. It's my mama's birthday.
Oh, happy
birthday!
Birthday.
Yeah, he must not put his name on here. John Miller.
Oh,
who also came up to Alaska this year. It's his birthday. There's a lot of birthdays, but on the site, we have Amanda Reed, B. Frank, Bill Dunham, Dave Reed, Deanne Schmidt, Dennis Sheridan, Elizabeth Lamont, Eric Moser, Filthy, Gary Thurston, Keith Hadsel, Kim Airy Morford, Rune Thomason, and Stanley Rivers.
So many birthdays.
Tomorrow we have Bazooka Gold, Dan Kelsey, Jason Jaybird Yates, Jeremy Grant, Carl Sidvari, and Larry Sill Cockerham. That's all I can see for tomorrow.
There were some good ones.
Well, I know
Ours
Filthy
was,
stuck in my mind.
B.
Filthy.
Frank.
B. Frank was a good one.
Well, we know Dave Reek.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
B. Frank is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'll do a backup just in case. Well, B. Frank is from Belpre, Ohio.
Wow. What the
Right.
hell?
He's a dredger, panning, and metal detects. Members of the GPA and the OSPA. He found the site from OSPA, and OSPA referred him. OSPA, Ohio State Prospectors Association.
Well, thanks, OSPA.
Yeah. Now, what type of equipment? Well, a buckabilly, because if you're an Ohio prospect or even Midwest, you better have at least one buckabilly because you can't get him no more. He retired.
Yeah.
He uses a keen and then a white MXT detector, white's metal detector.
Yeah, that buckabilly was big in Ohio.
Oh yeah,
I love mine. I love it.
mine.
He built those good pieces of aluminum, didn't chimp on it.
It's
Great
very
craftsmanship.
Right. I remember hearing that from Ed Marvin about the buckabilly sleep.
No, it honestly,
I love my
compared to what
buckabilly.
some companies and private small ones, you know, when you compare aluminum sluices, it was built very well.
I'm the one that talked about it all the time.
Oh yeah, you always did, Rich.
Now, B. Frank has been a member since 2013.
Okay.
Now, I did get a backup for today. I chose Filthy. I was curious. Where's Filthy from?
B. Frank and Filthy.
B. Frank, Filthy. Well, he's from Surprise, Arizona.
Oh, heck yeah.
So what type of prospecting does he do? All for the above. So I'm going to translate all of the above. Is this you?
No, this is not me.
Scott Taylor.
He talks like you. So he belongs to the GPAA, found the site from a referral. When he said who referred him to the site, it was Mike Sanford.
Oh.
And he actually listed the email address too. So if you want to get a hold of Mike Sanford, go to Filthy's page and send him an email and say hi.
That's funny.
That's kind of funny. He's been a member though, for quite some time. Looks 2012.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
That's awesome.
priceless.
So that's Filthy. Now we got to pick one for tomorrow because it's only fair.
Yeah.
Let's do Larry Sill Cockerham.
Okay.
Right? From Purdon, Texas.
Pardon.
Yep, it's Larry Sill. He's a high banker, belongs to the LDMA. How did he find the site? He was just browsing the net. No one referred him.
Mm-hmm.
It's all him. He just browsed right here. Now he, though, has been a member since 2011. Even you, Tim, were the first to say welcome and thanks for joining.
Wow.
Then Cecil did probably less than a day later.
Interesting.
So happy birthday to everyone out there.
Happy day.
Yeah.
You know what? We should have more LDMA people on there.
Huh?
I said we should have more LDMA. You didn't hear me?
No, where is
Well, yeah, we hear you, but we don't see you. It's just like a pick and shovel talking to you.
And I didn't.
Okay, is that better?
And I didn't.
his
get
white
you
shirt is
yeah.
blending into the background?
Yeah, and I didn't understand what you meant by that.
I said we should have more LDMA members on their site, actually.
Oh, we should have some more.
Sure we do. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure we do. Interesting. Well, okay, Kathleen and Shad, why don't you guys share a little about your adventure? You guys just got back.
We don't want to take a quick break first, or
we could do that. Let's take a quick break first.
Yeah, we better, because you know this is going to go like within an hour.
All right. We'll be right back after this message.
Do you like to mine for gold? Enjoy prospecting a nice crack in the bedrock? Enjoy getting out to camp, fish, hunt, and hike on your public lands? You plan your trip, load the gear, grab the dog, put the family in the truck, and drive off to a locked gate. A sign says you cannot enter or access your own public lands. Mining claims and public land owned by we the people are being designated as off limits by our own government every single day. Are you concerned about the direction our government is going? Are you tired of seeing no access, no entry signs on your lands? We are, and we are fighting back. We are AMRA, America Mining Rights Association, the fastest growing small mining advocacy association in America. AMRA is a 501c3 not-for-profit formed by miners, hunters, off-roaders, retired military men and women to stop the insanity. AMRA was formed to educate, unite, and help the small miners and public land users on their rights. Rights given to us by God. Do you want access to great mining claims? For a small tax-deductible donation to their miners' legal fund, your family gains access to proven excellent mining claims across America for an entire year. AMRA challenges the USFS, BLM, EPA, and the other agencies intent upon stopping you from enjoying your own lands. You are who pays these people's wages. It is time they listen to us. We need to unite. And that is what AMRA is doing. As you sit here right now, thousands of acres of public lands are being closed, locked, and blocked from use by you. Are you fed up yet? Join us. Get in on this fight and let's restore America to what our families fought and died for. Freedom. Just visit AmericanMiningRights.com. AmericanMiningRights.com. Also, check us out on Facebook at American Mining Rights Association. AmericanMiningRights.com. If you're interested in gold prospecting or treasure hunting as a career, hobby, passion, or just something you're interested in getting into, you have to visit goldprospectorspace.com. At goldprospectorspace.com, you'll find forums, chats, videos, blogs, sections on dry washing, metal detecting, high banking, and so much more. At goldprospectorspace.com. There's a store, classifieds, and at goldprospectorspace.com every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern Time, tune in to Prospectors Radio, the talk show for gold prospectors and treasure hunters. GoldProspectorspace.com is a social network with thousands of members, and everything you need is at GoldProspectorspace.com. Sign up today and get connected to others who share your love of gold and gold prospecting. Let the treasure hunt begin at GoldProspectorspace.com. GoldProspectorspace.com.
All right, everybody, we're back. And, well, let's see. There's Shen Kathleen. There's Rich.
Hello.
I'm here.
There you are. All right. So there's Scott. All right.
There's that bald crazy guy.
So, yeah, I want to hear about
The
this adventure.
Well,
my
we went to
gosh.
Alaska, found some gold, and came home.
The
North to Alaska, go north. The rush is on.
end.
So we just have to say that with all the crazy weather that's been going on in the United States, it's happening up there in Alaska as well. I know that if you've been following, I don't know, Facebook or whatever for Bering Sea Goat and Nome, they're having some crazy weather where they have to like dredge on the beach or the rivers because they can't get out to the ocean. Well, in the interior where we were, they're not getting any rain.
Well, they
Not
went,
enough.
by the time we got there, they hadn't had rain, like steady rain for 6 weeks. Now, previous years, it rained almost every single day we were there, where the sun would come out a little bit and then most nights it would pause a little bit.
So
But-
we packed for that.
Yeah, we packed like always, a little bit chilly.
It's cold.
Right.
And so they're having their temperatures. It actually was in the low 80s a couple days. It did get down into the upper 40s at night, which is a far cry from the low 30s previous years we've been up there.
Right.
So yeah, you actually sweated in camp this year.
And I did not pack one pair of shorts,
No.
of course, because it's Alaska.
Now, because of this lack of rain, their water level is at over a 40-year low up there on the 40 mile. It's so funny because now being up there 3 years, the first year it was actually pretty
flooded.
normal. Last
normal?
year was flooded.
Flooded.
They actually had to post or delay a little bit of the previous group that was before us because they couldn't get them down at time because it came up so high.
Right.
And then now it's so low to where they barely could get us to camp, and then had a hard time getting us out because they're in some areas of the river. It got so shallow to where there was less than an inch of water across.
And we kayaked down
halfway.
Halfway.
Yeah, when we kayaked the first half.
We had to like carry our kayaks.
Yeah.
It was that shallow. It kind of looked like, Bill's.
Hey, that's an adventure.
No, I think
that's what, you know what, Tim? That's what I was getting ready to say. You guys paid for an adventure.
You got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we definitely got it.
Did.
It was just unreal. And I mean, great. One thing is when the place people live are out in the middle of nowhere working, they get to know all the people nearby that are also out there working in the middle of nowhere. And it's cool because they all come to each other's help, whether it was to help ferry equipment or supplies down to the camp or help other people that had problems. One guy wrecked his hovercraft really bad and they had to go help him.
Well, you got to be, because you might get caught under a freaking rock.
Oh, he got tossed out of his hovercraft and slammed into the cliff
rocks.
wall.
Yeah. Wow, man!
Tore up his whole face. Granted,
that's it. That's a good throw.
Yeah,
crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
That's when something comes to a stop and you just kept going.
Yeah. Oh, they said it's so dangerous right now to kind of navigate up and down that river.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, we even watched the hovercraft operators. We went on like 3 different ones, but you gotta have skills to maneuver that within all of the rapids and the big rocks. And if you lose lift, you're done.
Now, are they hovercrafts or jet boats?
They're hovercrafts.
They're hovercrafts.
Okay.
With like a jet boat engine on top.
Yeah.
The propeller.
There's a fan that goes straight down with the skirt and everything and fills up the hovercraft to lift it.
Yeah, the bladder.
Yep, the bladder.
Oh, if you got one of those, that's a hovercraft.
Yep. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's pretty crazy because the water's low, and of course the river bottom there isn't just gravel. There's giant boulders that are normally covered now because it's so low. There's hardly any spaces to fit through in their big hovercraft they have at Gold Fever Prospecting. So they're having to adapt, and it's just granted. I think the night we left, we had probably a good hour rain, but that technically wasn't enough. But it actually at least slowed down it from dropping to get everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they get more rain up there. So it was totally different to look.
But on the upside, having less rain gave us
more gold.
Yep, you got it. We had more opportunities to get to parts of the river that is usually too deep.
Usually too deep and too much of a current where it tosses you around left and right trying to work it. So we were lucky. We found a good spot out there and was able just to punch a good hole and have good results right away. So
hey, I seen a Facebook photo. It said 2.8 ounces or something in that pan, and me and Lisa's looking at that pan going, they're lying like shit.
There's more.
Oh no. What do you do?
Yeah, I know there's more.
No. Yeah. In that pan that we showed you, that's 2.7 whatever troy ounces. Yeah.
It's
our concentrates, which is super. Like this little thing weighs so much, and you can see the gold. Yeah, that's the condensed,
ultra condensed cons.
Yeah.
Well, see, Lisa's
last year's we're going through.
Lisa's got this thing. She says when a gold miner tells you got 2 grams,
Just double it.
you might have 1.5, 1.25. And then she looked at that pan. She looked at me. She goes, "They're freaking lying."
No, believe it, in that pan, I kid you not, that is no bull crap. What we showed in that one pan is 2.7
That
Southern
is.
Troy ounce.
Then you know what? That is one small pan you had.
No. That's our regular Garrett gold pan that we use.
Yeah, the big
the gravity
green-
one.
Yeah,
your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because John Miller posted one too that
Yeah,
looked
Now, yeah, he
similar to that, but yours had a lot more in.
Well, okay. So he had some where he was working the first couple days. He actually got small nuggets.
Yeah.
Now we still have never
We
gotten
never get nuggets up there.
We got more
Never.
pickers this year than we ever had before. But yeah, we've got no nuggets.
Bunch of fine
so
gold.
it's fine gold. And one thing about the gold up there, it always looks more than it actually weighs, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's
Well,
really
like Lisa said, she goes, I could dump 2 ounces in a pan right now. It won't look like that.
Yeah, the Idaho gold that I got, it looked like there was a lot, but it didn't weigh much because it was
right. And the thing is, up there, it's there's 2 deposits.
actually 3 they found now.
3, I guess. And if you're finding nuggets, you're not typically finding a whole ton of fine gold.
Right.
If you're finding fine gold and pickers, you're not finding a lot of nuggets.
Right. It's either big stuff or nothing, or little stuff or no big.
Exactly.
And the color is different. So if you're finding the light colored stuff like we were, that's like the newer
Well, that's
areas
the
or
one
like
deposit of really ultra fine.
yeah. And then there's an old ancient like cut, I guess, and that's where you find the round roly-poly nuggets that are really, really dark, and you find garnets that are like almost golf ball size.
Yeah, they actually found
that'd be awesome.
Over 5 gram nugget up there, and a couple others like 2 and 3 gram nuggets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They found, and it's like dirty gold. It looks really brown and dirty.
Yeah, like it's been sitting there for years.
It's dark, yeah. But they have another one they found that they were for the first time talking about it. It's like because previous years we only really talked about 2, but I guess this other one is, and this is what the 5 grammer is. It's really smooth, not coarse looking at all, like a solid, smooth, clean, shiny piece of gold. So, but they've only found a little bit of that.
Yeah, but you got to think, what's it look like? Does it look like a cornflake, or does it look like a flat piece of gold, or what?
Oh no,
it looks like a big rock.
It's like a flat rock that was about this big. It was thin, no, but it was still flat. It was hard and solid.
I mean, was it like you're saying flat? I'm not getting it, because flat, I'm looking at like it looks like a cornflake.
Oh no, it's thicker
than a cornflake, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thick enough to be 5 gram.
You think it might have got caught between some rocks and stuff like that, and then busted its way out?
No idea, to be honest.
I mean, up there, you have to kind of forget everything you know in the Midwest anyway about gold and how it travels. That river, I guess, freezes all the way, and it's not like what we would imagine where gold would be. So it's a great learning experience, and I love it up there because we actually got to dive this year. The last 2 years we did a lot of long arming,
right?
And this year it was all diving.
You got to blow some bubbles.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, I mean, where the dredge we used was sitting, it was only in about 18 inches of water.
But the current was so strong.
And then we had to chew up 3 to 4 feet of overburden, right? So that took you down pretty good. And then some part, the river bottom did this. So we got down at one point almost 5 feet, and then but pretty consistency about 3.5 to 4 feet depth from bottom to the surface. But it was nice because I mean, after we worked our hole and got our open hole, first we did like a strip across. So define how far left should we push, how far right should we push. And so
Right.
we had to really read how the river was and the material down there underwater. And pretty much if there was at least a partial vertical wall, we know it relatively in recent years has not been touched and dredged. However, if all the material just cascaded, somebody's worked that very recently. Don't waste your time. So our initial cut was only about 15 feet wide. But then as we moved, the big rocks that couldn't go up our nozzle, we just literally rolled behind us. So granted, it got really dangerous walking around and landmines, giant boulders, but
that's what I do. That's what I do. I just behind me.
Yeah, because you don't want to hop up and toss it out. I mean, that kills you. It's still like no effort just to roll them back.
It was taking me like a long time to get used to, again, the 6-inch dredge. And I kept wanting to like pick the rocks out because I didn't want clogs. And it was pretty obvious.
Throw them behind you.
Look like his tailing pile.
Though I did mess with her the second day. So she started the morning and she was down there working for a good 3 hours straight.
And I had like,
so what I did, I knew she would probably be getting tired or something, wanting a quick break or some water. So I moved the dredge, the end, and I angled it away. So probably for the last 30 minutes, she had this tailing pile. And she gets out, and I'm just like, you didn't really move much.
I was so because I know for a fact I was just like, whoa. Pushing it up and up. I was like, in there.
I know, I'm just joking. I moved the dredge. This is your pile over here. It's a gravel farm now. So, but yeah, real quick, we might as well say, if you do venture up there, the secret to getting good gold is just moving a crap ton of material. Don't take your time. Just you gotta move material. If you're not having huge tailing piles, you don't do it right, and you're not gonna get enough gold.
But don't fall up on and through the bedrock and the cracks and stuff. I mean, granted, it's good, but don't spend too long on that.
Yeah,
you want to just keep moving that material.
Yeah. Move the dirt.
Move the dirt. Honestly, because from like the area we are, it was like the gut is what they called it. Most obviously the overburden, like I said, was anywhere 3 to 4 feet. There's some gold there, but not a ton. You know, it's relatively new deposits just from stuff moving around. Most of the gold we were actually on clay in a big section of it, was sitting on top of the gray clay, and like there was like this brownish gray clay.
And you
that was your
was
pay.
Gold.
Yeah, it was like just less than a 1/4 inch thick of pay material. Really, you could actually just see the gold sitting there all over.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys seen it. Nobody else did.
Yeah. So I mean, you just sucked it up and kept moving. I mean, we would hit little weak spots in the gray clay bottom where it would just take you down like a foot. Yeah, we'd suck out the material there really quick, but then we just moved on. I mean, that was, it's different than what you think. In every area, though, I guess you really got to work the material differently in each area.
Hey, man, I'm glad of what you guys did. That's the way we do it out here.
Yep.
Find the layer that, well, there ain't no gold. Well, I'm not digging that. I'm going this way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was great because, I mean, before we always long arm, like Kathleen said, and 2, we worked really the gravel bars and the banks, but because the water was so low, 1, you couldn't. So you had to get in that river and you really had to read it. And we got to learn a lot about that river up there more than we had previous years. So it was really good knowledge to pick up and understand. And, you can apply it then when you do go to new areas and new rivers. I mean, if you're not finding the gold, in one river because, hey, you're thinking this is how we did it in this place. Well, after you check and do your cleanup or your test, you need to rethink and see, okay, let's do this. Let's change it up a little bit and see if you're finding a gold den. This is how we need to work this piece of ground. So,
and that's what I was saying earlier. Like, and you guys keep a ledger on what you do when you're there. That way, you know where the creek is. You know where you can dig.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you continue to go back up.
There's this gravel bar that for the last 3 years I've been wanting to tackle. But for some reason or another, I can never get there.
Yeah,
and
this year is
way off, but
you couldn't even
maybe
do a
next
channel.
year.
smell
And
good.
how can you explain to somebody, with you being up there, what, 2-3 times now, right?
3 times,
Three
yeah.
times.
So
Yeah.
how do you explain to somebody that would go up there to be able to tell them so they could understand of not dredging in a place that somebody already went through? How would you be able to identify that as in
Yeah.
sucking up the material or looking at it or something? Could you explain how you would do it?
Well, we know like when you were diving and you were underwater, you could see how the material will just be stacked and it doesn't move. Whereas like over to the right and left, like I said, we were in between two dredge lines. It was somewhat stacked, but then once you start working it, it just went whew,
Yeah,
right in.
the entire top,
Yeah.
all the way to the bottom. Because
Mhm.
now we would hit some pockets where it would be a little bit loose, but you would at least
But
still
it
have
would-
over half the depth of that vertical wall.
You would still see that wall.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to follow. I mean, and not get caught up with like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna go over here. I mean,
No.
you can, but once it starts changing, then you know that someone's been there.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, somebody might have been there 2, 3, 4 years ago, but if they got all the good deposit gold, you're wasting your time and fuel there. You know, you may still maybe get a gram or two, but
You'll still get some gold.
if you stay in the somewhat newer unworked material, you're going to get several grams in the same amount of time, you know.
But also, that being said, common sense would tell you if you're in an area and you do a 3-hour run,
Mhm.
and especially if that's, you know, you broke your hold, you get down in there, you run 3 hours, you shut down and say, look, I'm going to check to see if I got any gold at all.
Yep.
You open it up and you maybe get a gram. Something there right in your head should be telling you, I think I better try another place because I could probably do better in my first 3 hours.
It's hard because like our first year we struggled. One, it was our first time up there.
And I hadn't run a 6
And
inch.
we didn't want to give up the area we already started working in.
Correct.
But when we were seeing what other people are getting and what we're not getting, and we actually got an argument about this, I wanted to move right away. And she's like, you can't chase the gold. And I'm like, well, it's
Yes,
not
you
here.
can.
Well, we found gold more than Ohio.
More than Ohio. So she
See,
was
that's my biggest problem. My biggest problem is if I'm still finding gold, I'm staying there. But
It
that
is tough.
kills me all the time because I should be moving on to the bigger gold and the more gold instead of just finding a little bit. You know what I mean?
And I mean,
No, but
we would check, okay, when we first started, okay, they were like, you know, one, Matt will tell you, like, he helps out. He helps all the guests who'd be like, okay, this is
He
where I
knows
think
that
is
river.
good. He knows
He
the
knows
river.
the river.
And he's done a lot of tests all over a big section. And he goes, okay, I know we're pretty good. You know, it looks here. I know somewhere in this area hasn't been touched in like 5, 6+ years, at least. So he told us, run for like 30 minutes and then stop. And he says, look in your mats. If you don't see
If you
hardly
can't
any,
see
like
it-
even just a little bit, not a lot, but if you don't see any gold or like maybe just 1 or 2, move quickly.
Move.
Bound up. Don't stay there bound. And sure enough, we shut down and we saw, you know, gold in the main box and the 2 side boxes. So we're like, okay, we're good. We're going from here. But yeah,
right.
you know, but that's the thing. You don't want to invest a lot of time as far as testing areas. You know, run some material. If you're not seeing any good results, move. And that doesn't mean move the whole dredge. Maybe you just need to pop your hole over and do another, you know, test there really quick. You know, because you don't want to waste a lot of time. I mean,
Yeah, 5 feet to the left, 5 feet to the right.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, now when you get to the bank areas and the gravel bars, well, you can see what's been worked because it's
Yeah.
like an arc.
Yeah, you can see.
The bank has an
And
arc
if it's
still.
flat, you know.
Or if it's just all sand, it's been worked.
Yeah.
Just look behind. You should still see remnants of a tailing pile nearby. So, but yeah, we actually did work into 2 different tailing piles.
Yeah.
But they must have had their dredge positioned more towards the bank and angled out because we just bulldozed right through them and found good gold. So,
All right.
Yep.
You got what they lost.
Well, that too. And that's the other thing. It's like, we all talk about what is our capture rates. Are we losing gold? Up there, you are
Yes.
losing gold.
Yeah.
Every piece of equipment loses. What's acceptable? Well, that's up to you and your equipment. But up there, that's the thing people mess up on. They get so hung up like, oh my God, I'm losing this little bit of gold that I panned out. Okay, you may lose like, a grain of gold, but you know what? You could dredge a lot more and get several grams for losing just a couple grains.
That's what I always say. Give it back to the gold gods.
Yeah, it's like
let it grow.
and that's what it's all about. You just up there, and then really any place, it's all about just moving that material. You gotta push that material. You're gonna have a loss. You have to understand, is trying to minimize that loss worth it in my time and energy, or should I just keep going? And it's the same concept when we get back to camp, when we're running all our cleanup. We clean out the cons. Kathleen is very meticulous out there on the beach or out there on the dredge. We classify out there and paying all of our bigger stuff. So one, it's less cons we're bringing back.
But you do it. That's the way you do it, Big.
As we bring it back, we ran it through first the 4-stack gold cube, right?
And then you run it, you pan out your 20s and 12s.
Yeah, we clean it out and we classify it down further. So first we do a 12 mesh, we classify, and then also a 20 mesh. And we pan those by hand. So our bigger flakes and small pickers, it's a lot easier to get out. And that way you're dealing with just all that super fine gold, finer material. Then we take it through the Keen cleanup sluice. Now this is all self-contained, right? So there's a little bucket at the end. And it's so funny because people freak out about this on social media, and I laugh every time I see the post, right? So you're spoon feeding all your material into the Keen cleanup sluice. Kathleen's great at that. I don't have patience.
It's fun.
And we're catching all those, the tailings.
We actually did a time lapse that we'll have to post of us feeding that, and it's so crazy.
Seeing the gold just appear.
Just having it light up that mat.
So we capture those tailings, then we clean out the mat in a bucket separately. Then we take those cons, we put it into a gold pan. First, I run the spin it off because there's a ton of magnetic sands up there. And believe it or not, that spin it off works great.
Yeah, that should have been done 2 processes ago. But
well,
we do it right at the end because there's still gold in that black sand.
Yeah, so I when I clean it out each time as I fill it up with all the magnetics, I put it into another gold pan, to release it, and then I just keep working it. And then actually this trip, the whole time I just panned all our gold clean, which you imagine 2/3 of an ounce. I got pretty good at tap, tap, tap.
He is a lot quicker at it than I would be.
Yeah. First year was hell. Last year, it took me until midnight
Don
to 2.
Siegel
Taught me a lot of panning tricks, how to do it and how to be fast. Now, granted, that man's super fast. He can do an ounce of gold in 20 minutes, clean as can be out of a pan. But that's what we do. Now we save all of our cons, all of our tailings and magnetics, because it's like you're tired at that point, and
it's late, but it's light out.
You want to get rest because you need to have your ass back in that water dredging the very next morning.
Why don't you do that for 6 months?
Yeah, exactly. But so we added up all our tailings. We put it in a bucket, and just throughout the next few days, it would just add up, right? Now the sands and one day we were at camp, we had extra time. So we actually started running the gold cube tailing pile.
Oh my gosh, and we found gold.
Yeah, only found I think we did 10 buckets, and it was about 8 buckets. Yeah, we got about 1.8 grams out of there.
Wow.
So everybody's losing gold from the gold cube there because you have this tote you pick up of your tailings. You're constantly dump it in this giant pile. So yeah, you're losing gold. But again, you don't want to get hung up on it because that's everybody's tailings there that they've dumped out over the course of the entire season already, right? So that's not just your stuff. So you got to think, out of all that stuff that those buckets that we ran, we only found 1.8 grams or whatever it was. Not much.
Good.
Is it
Pretty
really
good.
worth your time as what your individual material is to keep rerunning it? Now you can, but again, do you want to be back out in that river dredging and getting another half, 2/3 ounce, or do you
No.
want to get that extra quarter gram?
We
Give it
usually
back to the gold gods.
say.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't get hung up on that. Now our other tailings we keep as we were like really condensing down our cons into ultra cons. So at the end, I take all of our black sands that we've run once, and we rerun it through the King cleanup sluice a couple times, 2 times, and then we clean out and we put it all into a blue bowl, and we just let it run through the blue bowl. And I checked it, and I'd see gold there, and then we ended up still, because I wanted to see how much gold I could
Let's see how
see.
much. I'm gonna get the scale. Let's see how much that weighs.
Okay. So, but regardless, we threw it all back in, and these are ultra cons that we brought home. That we still
Double black.
Oh, they're really small. Yeah, we're still, as Kathleen showed, going through last year's, which so far we pulled out about 4 grams of gold in that.
Wow.
There's still more.
Here is the scale. It's in grams. Do you want it in like ounces or
Pounds.
I was gonna say it's a jar, black sand.
There it
Got
goes.
96 ounces sitting here. It's good.
All right, so right here we have 1 pound 8.6 ounces
of black sand?
of black sands in a small little, what is that, 2-inch diameter?
I was gonna say 2 pounds, but yeah.
But that's black
Almost
sand, man.
Yeah, it's so stinking heavy.
Oh my gosh.
So
Crazy.
that's how we do it, because again, you're going to lose gold. You don't want to get hung up there because you can get 100 times more gold by just going out that next day and working material, fresh
Right.
material again.
Sure.
So
That makes
that's how we do it. That's how we encourage. It's things we've learned over going now 3 times of getting to be more successful, because face it, they right now they offer 2 trips. They have 7-day or 10-day sessions. Well, each within the 7 and 10 days, you got to take off 2 days minimum for travel. 1 day there, 1 day back. So now you're down to 5, 8 days. And then you may, on the last day of each trip, you got to figure, hey, do you want to have a soaking wet, heavy as wetsuit to fly home with, or do you want to have stuff dry out and just work your cons a little bit more?
Or
So,
the big sand pile.
You could go down to 4 days of dredging, 4 days to 7 days of dredging, pending no problems in between from freak weather or maybe a bad day that you just had that you weren't on the gold at all, which happens.
Bering Sea gold.
So yeah, I mean, you just got to get out there and work. Now, granted, they take care of all the equipment. They'll drop everything and just come if there's a problem with one of their dredges and fix it. They don't
mess around.
They don't mess around with you. They're there to make sure you're
But
dredging.
how would you get a hold of them? You have a radio?
They give every dredge a walkie-talkie. So that way, all the people in the camp are monitoring it. So you have Ginger back at the main part of camp. Matt may be running around with others at camp, fixing stuff, or on the 8 or 10-inch dredges, checking on things. So he has one, and then of course a couple of the other guys out there that help out and dive for him as well, or all have radios. So yeah, if there's ever a problem, beep beep, get a hold of them. They'll come take a look right away. So that's what's cool, and they'll also help. If you're just not in an area, which happened this year to a few of them, to where they were at, and they're just not having any luck for 2 days.
He'll put you on
they brought up boat, the hovercraft. For 2 of them, and actually we helped pick up the hovercraft, put it in the dredge in the hovercraft. They brought it upstream into better areas, but that's what made it challenging this year because the water was so low. Yes, you're able to work areas normally you can't get to, but in some areas it leaves you limited places to go. If there's just not a lot of room, or there's just the gold's really thin there. So that's what happens there a little bit for some people. But yeah, again, they were like, okay, we're going to help get you some gold. We don't care. We'll spend hours moving this for you ahead of time. And they did. So
you know what? I mean, that's that's one of the parts where I think it makes you good. But I think that's kind of the part that makes something kind of bad, because you're not making the guy find his old gold.
Well, yeah. I mean,
if I went up there to find my own gold, I want to do the adventure thing. You know, you
Right.
got to
Oh,
find
yeah.
your own stuff.
Right.
I would want to be
You
on
always
that
start
stuff
off
like
with
that.
that. You always do.
yeah, they'll suggest, like, if you want, and a lot of people do. I mean,
They don't force you to
they're like,
dredge
hey,
anywhere.
I would check out this spot or over here.
Do what you want.
And granted, it's still not like they're zeroing in on the exact deposit. They just go, look, I know somebody had good luck over in this area. That area has been worked, so you may want to focus here. Up to you. You know, and some people
they
take that
still make
advice
it-
and go with it.
Yeah, they make it your decision.
And
anyway.
still, that doesn't mean you're going to hit it. So again, you need to learn to read the river and the material and what you're working. Because if you're not having results, well, then you need to think, I need to move, or else I'm just going to waste a whole day.
Right.
And that happens.
know.
You know, so.
But I mean, if you think about my position here, they're running a business to run for the next, I don't know how many years, right? Okay, and then you got guys come up there like, I know what I'm doing. Okay, you just go do what you want to do. Well, I'm not finding the gold. Well, guess what? Because you're in the wrong place. Evidently, you didn't know what you were doing. But then you got, then you got the families. You got the families like you. You took your kids up there, said, "Hey, all we want to do is find gold." Well, they're going to put you right. Like, I know the gold's here, and you're going to be happy. Let's just dig it.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you get really seasoned people who have so much knowledge, and they think, I'll know right where to go, and they won't listen to anybody. They do it all the time. They said it too, and they just kind of sit back and they're like, hey, okay, well, maybe you want to do this. And they're really polite because they just want people to have a great time and walk away happy.
I mean, you
granted,
have,
if they're
100
getting
miles of river.
no,
Or
100 miles.
Acres.
They got 10 miles, but there's only a certain amount that you can work right now because of water levels, because it's not possible to get.
But the thing of it is also is they want you to find gold because that's their name they're putting out there.
Exactly.
So
they
later on and say, well, I only found 6 grams in 4 days. You know, that's not looking good.
If they see you working into an area that even they dredged recently, or they know, they will immediately come out and go, no. Here, work this way, and they'll help move the dredge over. And that could be something like one guy was doing it, and they literally just say, hey, go this way 5 feet over. You know, so yeah, they're not looking where they just leave you on your own and you're screwed if you're not hitting it. No.
Right.
They'll help you out and give you some of that information and teach you about that river, because you know, he's been up, they've had this camp now for 4 years themselves. He's been up there several times prior to that too. He's learned a lot. He's gotten close with a lot of the locals up there, and also other miners who are doing it commercially along that whole river, and they're sharing information. He's still talking to the previous people that ran a mine up there in that same ground and areas, and finding out more information about stuff. So they're good resources. But that, I mean, that goes to say, you know, any area you go to, it's all about, one, your research, 2, you got to test and sample, and 3, you know, take some input. You know, granted, some people are jerks out there and will say, hey, here's a good spot, and you're dredging their own tailing piles.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying they're that way, but you know what? You always get those guys that are hard-headed or gals that like, oh, I've been doing this for 20-something years. Like, you know what? If I went up there, I've been doing it for 20-something years. Guess what? I'm going to listen to whoever's been digging on it. Just point. It's like
because
it's not like dredging like in Ohio or wherever. It's different.
Well, every river and deposits and area is different. Material's different. You got to do things differently at each river. You can't. I mean, granted, Jim Hamilton can go into about riffle sets that you need different type of riffles even in some places, because they don't always catch the material that well. There's not a one size fits all. Yes, you can still get gold, but you know, you do want to take that time to get that information to be open. But yeah, sure, you can still do your own thing, but you know, I would encourage to take their advice and then do your own thing on top of it there too. Yeah. But that's just,
you have the flexibility, but you know, if you want their help, they'll give it to you.
That's cool.
I mean, they're not.
I mean, they were good people. I met them at the Gold Show. They're good people. They were
very
always
great people.
About.
Family, their boys are growing. It's so funny that we saw the one with the binky run around a diaper. Now he's able, a 4-year-old is able to split firewood with an axe. This is a
pretty
bush
good
kid.
at it.
This is a bush kid. Yeah.
He
Now,
was raised in the bush.
yeah, he's being raised now. Granted, they live in Fairbanks or outside of Fairbanks, during the winters now. But yeah, the family's awesome. Their kids are just a blast to hang around with. They're funny, because they're young, coming up out there. They're learning so much. I mean, even their 10-year-old's already been on the 8-inch dredge.
And like he's 4. He'll come around to the cleanup area and tell you if you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you need to do this.
He'll bring jet dry to people without them realizing they need to add some fresh jet dry. Because you're,
He's 4.
From the gold cube to the King cleanup sluice, you're using the same water. That stuff gets mucked out. You need fresh water.
Yeah.
You can't
You know
run with
what?
clean water.
There is nothing worse than looking over a kid and he's going,
A 4-year-old. A 4-year-old kid, man. I mean, come on.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, the hospitality is phenomenal there. They take care of your safety's their priority.
And we had a great time. I got to run the 8-inch.
Yeah, we did. One day we went and checked out their 10-inch because they did some massive overhauls. We saw it a little bit last year. This year we hung out for a while. And then we also got put on their 8-inch and got to there. We were just doing a test hole into this one area. So Kathleen was the first one on that because previously I did the 10, but she's never done bigger than the 6-inch.
I was afraid, but not anymore.
She did. We had to take out almost 2 feet of bedrock though, because it was so shallow material and they were just trying to see how this cut this way would look. Which it didn't look good because after 3 hours, I think we were at 2.6 grams.
Was the bedrock breaking up and coming up?
Yeah, it was just like deteriorating. From the dredge was so strong.
But you would think with the movements and stuff, it'd like catch like crap loads of gold.
But the gold
just wasn't there as much. Yeah, so I mean. It was fun to run it, but we were hoping to come out with like an ounce that day. It's like 2.6 grams.
We did more on the 6-inch.
Yeah. But it was cool because we got to see how they do that because they got their 10-inch on one spot. He's trying to work sections of the whole river where they're at and like get it done. He doesn't want to leave, even if it's limited in some spots. Just run the material and then start moving the whole. The commercial operation down a little bit, but so it was neat to run it to do the test and just kind of see, how they're doing it as far as the prospecting testing phase of the commercial operation.
Oh, and Jimbo was there that day when we were doing the 8 and his 14-year-old daughter.
She's 15 now.
She's 14.
Oh, I thought she was 15.
She ran the 8-inch.
Yeah.
Nice.
She never dredged. Well, she dredged on a 4-inch briefly.
Kept getting clogs.
Hey, so that girl ain't afraid of nothing. Don't worry about
so that was awesome. So basically, each almost worked just an hour on it. Well, she worked probably 40 minutes, but it was awesome. It was cool to see her. It was a good time for them because her and Julie came up for the time we were there because Jimbo's staying working, helping out up there for another.
This is the first time Jimbo's wife and daughter were there.
Now I will say this story because this was
I seen on the Facebook there's going to go up for a week.
Yeah, they were there for the 10-day session with us.
Yeah.
But okay, so neither one of them had ever dredged before. One it's Arizona. Now they've seen dredges up when they've went up to Idaho and stuff, but they themselves never ran the dredges. So they have Matt's son, Junior's. He has a 4-inch dredge that he runs up there. Yeah. And so they got it and found some, panned some areas, found some gold, said, okay, here you go and work it. So we were way upstream. We could see them in the distance working it. They were maybe out there for an hour and a half that day. And we just see them walking back and they never came back out. And I was like, I guess they don't like it and they're done. Well, we came back to camp and it's like, they go, no, we got a clog. And I'm like, well, how come you didn't try to get it out? It was like, we didn't know what to do. And when I told Jim just said, well, go take the hose off, bring me the hose and I'll take a look. So they just left everything.
Oh my
He goes,
gosh.
I'm not walking out across there. I cracked up so hard. That was the funniest thing. But yeah, no, they got back on it the next day and did,
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
love that. No, that's actually Jimmy. He was joking like, "Oh yeah, just bring me the hose."
Yeah.
What you got to do to bring you the hose?
And that hose is
Oh no.
Just bring me the hose.
Yeah, the water's shallow, but you still in a few spots
current.
goes, up to your almost to your waist, and the current's really strong right now because it's so shallow. That would have been a hot mess,
One
right?
thing you got to take in consideration also is when you're dredging is where are you going to put those dredging piles? You know what I mean? Because if you don't want to put those dredging piles on top of stuff that hasn't been processed yet, you know what I mean?
It
Yeah,
is.
but they
tough,
do.
yeah.
They do that.
We did put it on unworked ground because like we went down, but we were so limited because it was so shallow in the spots our dredge was.
But
And
as
we
they
didn't want
move
we
forward-
didn't want to angle it to the bank.
No.
But we still had probably 60 feet of tailing pile before we finally were dropping our tailings into our original hole.
The original hole.
So
Just
there is
filling it up.
there's 50 to 60 feet
Wow.
of ground that's good, that's covered up with a ton of our tailings. And I'm talking, it's about 20 feet wide tailings that went back almost 60 feet. And that was just before we finally were dropping material back into our hole. Now, all the big boulders are down there, but yeah,
Hey, but you got to think about it though. When the next flood comes through, number one, it's going to fill your hole in quick,
Yeah.
and it's going to blow those tailings. That's not the creek bed, so it's going to blow those tailings out of the way.
Yeah,
Like I said, water's funny.
Yeah, granted, we were up, so they were downstream, but yeah, there was still other tailing piles ahead of us. That'll all come in because you'll when you walk in that river, even if it is a little bit deeper, you look down, you can see little almost filled in craters. So that's tailing, that's a dredge hole that's just been filled in. So I mean, obviously, but yeah, I mean it happens because that river, like Kathleen said, freezes all the way to the bottom into bedrock, and that's why that bedrock is like a bunch of shards with the big dredges.
I went through 3 gloves and shredded them because
You got to put the freaking caulking on them, man.
Yeah, we forgot to do that, and just were like, what the heck? I don't care.
Yeah, you survived. That's the thing. You guys survived. You made it back. You had a great trip. You got some gold.
Yeah.
So fun.
And a lot of memories again.
Yeah, it's a blast. Definitely want to go back.
And to let you know, I made bug spray
and
an anti-itch herbal cream.
It all worked.
Oh my God, an anti-itch.
Worked.
I kid you. Okay, so one cool thing, everybody brings so much bug spray up there. So they have tons of cans of off up there, stuff, right? So you really just always check if you go up there. You don't really need to bring any because they have an ample supply. But what's funny was I was like, okay, let's guinea pig this up with your spray. Last year, she failed miserably.
Last year was
bit
bad.
all over. I was
It was
dying.
horrible.
And I asked permission last year. I was like, can I please use their off? It's ain't working. So this year, she got her recipe, and like the mosquitoes would all be around you,
but they wouldn't.
But it was
touch
like
you.
it was like you had this force field, this bubble you were in, because they would just like go around like this. They wanted to land on you. It worked.
That was the bug's way of saying you stink.
Yeah, probably.
But the herb that I used for the bug spray was mugwort. Mugwort. It's actually fresh mugwort that I had to make, like infuse into an oil to make the spray, and that was the main ingredient was mugwort.
So Kathleen also, because hey, okay, bug spray is good, but it does wear off or it gets washed off, and you get bit. It just happens, right? So we need an anti-itch. Well, I don't want to use no cortisone cream, so she made her own. Right, and she called them prototypes. Yeah. Literally, the label on them.
I
she
was
brought
testing
a few of them. And she goes,
like, here, test
she
this.
passed it out and goes, "Oh, you got a bite? Here, try this." So she would leave a couple out for the other guests and
And
Matt and Ginger to use, and just to see if it worked and give feedback on it. I kid you not, the stuff actually worked. Like I would put it on. I didn't itch for like hours. Usually cortisone cream, you got to constantly apply. Yeah. So hopefully she can repeat what she made.
I can.
Hopefully she wrote it down. Her recipe.
I did. I totally wrote down all the measurements. Yeah. I'm going to put it on my website.
It's like that one-time meal.
It really worked.
It does work.
I was so happy because it feels good because I'm more of the
It's all natural.
Yeah. If I get bit by a mosquito, I scratch until it bleeds so it stops itching.
Yeah, I hate that.
This you don't have to.
You don't need to. And I got to go up there and forage. And I was able to bring home some roots because I tried to grow yarrow because it grows everywhere, right? But I don't have it in my yard in the suburbs. So I tried to grow it by seed and it did not work out. So when I went up there, it's just growing everywhere. So I ended up digging up the plant, putting it in a water bottle. And kept it all week, and then put the moss that is all over the tundra, and Ginger to do this, and shoving it in the water bottle, and then putting the lid on it at the very last minute, and I flew with it, and I planted it in my yard.
Oh, you did bring it home, and you did.
Yeah, I got the root intact. It was still moist, and was able to plant in the yard.
And we did buy some seeds for 2 plants.
Fireweed,
which is everywhere up there. Really pretty plant.
Oh, it's gorgeous. But it's just a big
tons of medicinal properties.
So I got some seeds, and then I also got some other I collected a lot of plants and dried them out, one of which was poisonous. And I ended
one of them would kill you.
Yeah, you could kill somebody with this. And I was like, I don't know if I should have this.
Little berries.
Oh, the one for hemorrhoid.
Monk's hood is what I collected because it's really pretty. You look at it, it's got like this like purple flower, and I was like, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna collect some. And I had books and stuff like that. But after I got back and I was looking at it, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I should really have this. I mean, granted, you can kill insects with it, but you can also kill people and animals with it. Yeah. So it's just like, I'm not gonna
ain't that the declaration of you're not supposed to bring plants or anything back?
Well,
we're still in the United States.
International travel. Now, here's what's funny though. So Kathleen, don't give it away here. She was wanting to be so prepared because she really wanted to find, different plants and mushrooms. We were too early. Usually it's more August with the mushrooms, but she bought 2 books and they were just for this specific area of Alaska.
It took me a long time to find those.
Really in-depth books to tell you about the plant, all the information you would need for, all the stuff she does. So as we were getting ready to pack, I guess she put them on her nightstand, the table next to the bed. Well, inadvertently, she set another book on top of those books.
The Arizona book.
She put them on the nightstand to remember, okay, I want to put these in my little backpack, like, Dora the Explorer. And so she put them there so she remembered. But however, when she was packing her suitcase, the other book was in the book bag still from the last trip to Arizona. She took it out and just set it on top of those books. So the whole time we were leaving, she goes, I feel like I'm forgetting some. I'm like, well, nothing that I'm aware of. I got all the stuff we need to dredge.
I just had this, like, I'm forgetting something.
So we get all the way up there. Oh, no, this was in the airport.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, we got through security. And she goes, I don't have my books. And I'm like, oh, well. So yeah, so she had to collect. Now, granted, when we stopped at Fred Meyer for some last minute supplies before you go to the bush, she found a book. It was okay, no big deal. But so she had to just randomly pick stuff
and bring it home.
Then look it up to see what it was. And that's how she inadvertently tried to poison me. Trying to kill me.
No, like you can actually kill people with this stuff.
I don't know where it is. I haven't seen her really dispose. She said,
Oh,
I think she's setting up motive or an alibi right now. Like, oh, I got rid of this. So now, you know, I'll wake up like getting sicker and sicker and then dying, you know, months later. And they'll be like, well, I don't know. So please come back to this episode, July 28th, 2021. If I die of poison and she's alive, you'll know.
Hey, you're not working with mercury, are you?
Oh, that's some people found.
Oh my
This was the
gosh.
coolest thing. So
This was neat.
this river was being worked and mined by the old timers before the big Yukon gold rush. In fact, when they found gold in the Yukon, the people that were up there just went downriver because it runs into Canada, into almost to the Yukon River, really close by. Because I think we're only hour and a half drive from Dawson City almost.
Ooh, man.
So this tells you the region where everything is from the Yukon. So the old timers were working there. I mean, upstream from us, just right at the top of their claim, there's remnants of an old bucket line dredge that they had in the 40 mile. They never got past that point downstream to where their camp and all the claims are. So they had huge stuff. You can go see the town of Franklin and all these huge boiler machines, all the remnants of huge equipment they had out there.
Cool.
But as we know, the old timers, because they probably got all the big gold, but they still up there, it was a lot of fine gold even back then.
They couldn't get all that.
So they used mercury. So one of the dredgers up there, or a pair of them, when they cleaned up,
Actually, when they were dredging, they could see
they
the
would
mercury.
see like little pearls, and it was mercury balls.
wow.
Yep.
That they were dredging up and staying on the dredge because these mercury balls are filled with gold. So
they're gold magnets.
Drops at the top of the sluice box and the dredges, right? So that's another good thing about dredging, everybody, for gold. If you're in areas with the old miners, you are also extracting mercury, cleaning up that riverbed. Amber talks about it all the time, but it's true.
Hey, just remember the government will give you $10,000 if you're a mercury extraction unit.
Yeah, exactly. So when they brought it up and cleaned up their whole dredge and they were going through their whole pan of fine material, it was just filled with all these balls. And as they kept moving around and agitating it, they would start coming all together. They had about a silver dollar size disc. And it was puffy, probably about a little over 1/8 of an inch thick of of mercury. And so that is just filled with gold. And later they have a retort out at camp. So they safely did it outdoors, obviously.
Nice.
And then they had, I think it was about over 3 point something grams of gold in that one disc that they pulled out.
That's cool.
I'll tell you what, mercury will roll like a marble. If it
I used to play with it when I was a kid.
I know. But if it doesn't roll, it's got something else in it, which if you use it with gold, which I still tell everybody, if you're going to try, do your homework, figure out if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
But for fine gold, I used to tumble it in my rock tumbler and get the fine gold out. Yep. But if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, they use it up there. Well, back in the safe area, they put it in a bottle. They have like all their ultra cons, and they'll put a little bit in, seal up this tight bottle, and they actually just put it on the generator.
And it vibrates.
So it vibrates, out there. So they'll run it a few days like that because they only turn the generator on just for a short time every day if the batteries lose too much charge from the solar power. But yeah, that's what they do to get it out. And that's what they have that retort there. So they definitely, I agree with you, Scott. It's something you need to do research, or even better with the practice person.
Right.
Well, the only reason why I did it is because of the gold I was finding was super fine. Yeah. And I knew in my black sand
these things, and Kathleen puts it on the water table. That takes forever.
It's taken me a year
to get through that.
To get through this, and I'm not even through it yet. This was full, but now I have like maybe a half inch to go. off of this one from last year, and then now I'm gonna have this one.
You got enough to last you till next year.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? That's what that koi pond gets you.
That's right. All right. On that note, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. It's almost 10:30. So
Oh goodness, we just
yeah. So
so
we'll
much
go ahead and
fun.
wrap it up. Kathleen, Chad, glad you guys are back. Glad you guys
Hey.
had a great time.
Don't forget to mention the raffle. Come on.
Yep, the raffle's done. Now that's quick question. You have
Wait, it's-
stated on the thing that it was closing July 30th, but July 31st is a Saturday.
Well, I'll change it to the 31st. Because
Okay, so we still have time to buy tickets.
yeah, you still have time to
I
buy.
was gonna say I gotta spend more $50 here.
TikTok.
Yes, God, I got mine just before
Time
the
is
show.
running out. You got until Saturday at midnight.
Yep.
You guys, and remember how you do it. Sign up on Gold Prospectors Space. It's totally for free. It's easy to get in. Once you're in, hit the donate button. For every $5, it's one ticket, and we have a lot of prizes. Come on.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then we'll announce what time we're gonna do the drawing.
I'm
Sunday.
getting $100. I don't care. I'm
I'll post
getting
it.
something.
Post it on the site. What time the
Is
drawing?
it going to be like on a Sunday or a show night, or will it be just a different night?
Hey, Tim's gonna do it in his dinosaur outfit.
But we're gonna do the drawing Sunday. It'll just be earlier, like 5.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, so you're gonna do it before the show?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
It'll be earlier.
In his dinosaur outfit.
In my dinosaur suit.
There's a lot of crap that's been added while we were gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
there's a lot. Definitely a lot. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and these aren't little. There's
There's
all
a-
sorts of
It's
sweet
cool. There's all
gifts
kinds
from
of stuff.
listeners, the crew, and sponsors, ranging from, a little bit to a heck of a lot. I can't believe how much.
Yeah, more than
Heck of a lot.
Oh,
more than
I got to keep it clean.
yeah.
I've been in the bush.
Yeah. All right. So, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We'll be back Sunday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then. We're out of here.
Good night.
Everybody.
Right.
Good night.
Good night, gold diggers.
Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 7:30 for another great show. For updates and more info, please go to www.prospectorsradio.com.
Raffle, Gold Prospector Space.